Okay, so these are the conditions before salah. Who studied them before? The class. The Misbah guys, have you studied them before? Conditions before salah?
No.
Okay.
No.
Okay, so these conditions before salah are extremely important. Because if one of them is left out, your whole salah will not count. So you need to know what the conditions are. So these are conditions for your salah to be valid. Let's say you perform your salah, but you haven't done one of the conditions of the salah, and it's broken, your salah will not count. Even if you prayed 1,000 salahs, but the condition of the salah was missing, all the 1,000 salahs will not count. So that's why it's important to know what these are. Does that make sense? Everyone got that? So there are 8 conditions before salah. The reason why it's called before salah, because these 8 things, they're not inside your salah, they're connected to your salah. Does that make sense?
Yeah.
Whereas the other things, let's say you say Allahu Akbar, you stand up, you go into ruku, you go into sujood, these things are inside your salah, isn't it? So that's why they have a separate category, which is called the 6 fara'id of salah. Whereas these 8 things, they're not inside your salah, but the other things which are related to your salah, which if they're not done, your salah won't count. Okay, so number 1. Can you read first?
Perform ghusl if necessary.
Okay, so number 1, perform ghusl if necessary. We mentioned yesterday, sometimes you can be in a state of what?
Impurity.
Which state you need to do ghusl for?
If you're dirty
We covered it yesterday?
spiritually.
Yeah, which one? There's 2 types of spiritual impurity, isn't there?
There was physical and spiritual. Minor, major.
But you haven't answered the question.
Major.
Yes, major impurity. If you're in a state of major impurity, then just doing wudu will not be enough. You need to take a ghusl, a bath, your whole body is wet, rinse your mouth and your nose. Once you do that, only then you can pray salah. That's why, you know, in the sheet it says if necessary. So do you need to do it all the time? No, only if it's necessary. So that's very important. Or someone's going to be taking a bath every time they pray salah. Yes, it's only if it's necessary. So generally it's not necessary. That's number 1. Can we read number 2?
Perform wudu if necessary.
Perform wudu if necessary. So let's say if you've already got wudu, do you need to do wudu again?
No.
No, that's why it says if necessary. So can you pray salah without wudu? No. So that's why that's a condition of salah. So you see how is wudu inside your salah? Do you do wudu inside your salah? No. That's why these are conditions. It's an outside of salah, but it's necessary for your salah to be correct. That's number 2 is wudu. Perform wudu if necessary. And can you read the next one?
Cover the salah parts which must be covered.
Okay, so I'm going to write something there. Okay, next to that, in brackets, let's say on the margin or something, put awra. Okay, so satar and awra is the same thing. So cover the satar. So another word for satar is the word awra in Arabic. So I think awra is a better word. So your awra has to be covered. So an awra is everything from a male or a female which must be covered in salah. And then we're going to read exactly what has to be covered. So can you just wear a t-shirt and shorts and pray salah?
No.
Can you not wear a t-shirt, let's say for boys, can they just wear trousers and pray salah, not wear a top?
No.
What about girls? Can they just wear a t-shirt and normal trousers and a scarf and pray salah?
No.
Okay, so we're gonna see exactly what the awra is and how much of the body needs to be covered. Because if the necessary amount is not covered, the salah will not be valid. Does that make sense? So now let's see how much has to be covered. So can you read the male awra, the male satar? So these are for the boys and men.
From the navel to the knees, including the knees.
Okay, notice the navel is just underneath the belly button. So the boy's awra starts from this is the belly button, so just underneath that is here. So the belly button is not included. So if you want to walk around with your belly button showing, it's fine. Yeah? So the awra for the boys from the navel underneath, and imagine a line going all the way around the body. A straight line going all the way around from the navel. So the awra starts from that point. And it goes all the way down till where? Tafsir?
To the knees, including.
To the knees, including the knees. only from here till here needs to be covered for your salah to be correct. Let's say someone decided that it's very hot today, I'm just going to wear trousers covering my navel to knees, and I'm not going to wear a top because it's very hot. Will their salah count?
No.
Yes, they will.
Yes.
Because it,
Yes.
Because
it's
very hot.
Yes, it's not good to do.
And it covers from the navel to the knees.
Yes. Guys, only one person talking please. And everyone else listening. Okay. Yes, that's the correct answer. Because for a male, is the top an awrah? Does the body need to be covered?
No.
No, only from navel to the knees. So technically, if someone were to do that, the salah will still count. Or if they just wear a normal t-shirt, or they just wear a vest, the salah will count. Although if you do salah without wearing a t-shirt at all, salah will be makruh, disliked. But regardless, the salah will count. Does that make sense?
Yes.
So that's the male awrah. From the navel to the knees, including the knees. That's why, can you wear shorts and pray salah with your knees showing?
No, you can't.
No, knees are part of the awrah, yeah.
What if you wear really long shorts and like got 2 shins?
That's fine, as long as your awrah is covered.
Yeah.
Yeah, so you can pray salah in 3/4. Okay, can you read the next one? The female satar?
The whole body except your face, hands and feet.
Okay, this is very important. For the female, it's the entire body. Everything has to be covered with 3 exceptions. Only 3 things can be showing. What was the first one?
Your face.
Okay, the face. So the face doesn't need to be covered. So the face is from the top of the forehead and all the way around. So that's the face. Next one?
You can leave your hands uncovered.
Yeah, so the hands, it's from, just one second. The hands is from here. So that doesn't include the wrist. So the wrist or the arm, all the way including the wrist, has to be covered. Only the arm can be left exposed. And the last one?
Your feet.
The feet. So only the feet can be uncovered. So that means the ankles must be covered as well. Does that make sense? So for the female, for your salah to be valid, everything has to be covered. Your hair cannot be showing. So if you've got hair showing at the front and you're praying salah, will the salah count?
No.
What if your hair's very long and it comes out of your scarf from the back? Will the salah count?
No.
No. So everything has to be covered properly. What if sometimes what happens is, especially for girls, the jubba or whatever is being worn, sometimes is a bit short. So when they go into ruku, it lifts up like that. So the whole ruku, the arm is exposed about this much. Yeah, and when they stand up, it goes back to normal again. It's only in ruku, because when you bow down, it comes up a bit, isn't it? So the salah will not count. Does that make sense?
Yes.
So for the entire salah, you have to make sure that the entire awrah is covered. Any questions before we move on? Okay, another thing, a very important thing to note is if a quarter of the awrah is uncovered for the duration of 3 tasbeehs. What's a tasbeeh?
Is there any like food there?
These small circles. They're like beads on a string.
Okay, they call that, but that's to count your tasbeehs. That's why they call that a tasbeeh as well. Tasbeeh is basically Subhanallah, Subhanallah Azim. So when we talk about Salat tasbeeh, we're referring to Subhana Rabbil Azim. So how long does it take to say Subhana Rabbil Azim?
3 seconds. About like 2 seconds.
About 1.5 seconds. Yeah. Subhana Rabbil Azim. 1.5 seconds.
I rounded it.
Okay, so if a quarter of the satar is uncovered for the duration of 3 tasbeehs, your salah will break. So that's important. I want everyone to write that down. So write it down in your book. What you can do is you can write it on the sheet itself if you want. So all your salah notes can be on the sheet. If you can write neat and small, but if you can't, you can write in your book. Yeah, so that will be the rule. So if it's uncovered for the time it takes to say 3 subhanallahi al-azim, that's about 5-6 seconds, then the salah will break. But if it's less than that, then the salah won't break. Any questions on that? Okay, and then what I mean by quarter of the limb is, okay, just one second. So this, from here to here is one limb, from here to here is one limb, your thighs are one limb, etc. Yeah? And for girls, the hair is one limb, your shins are one limb, because for girls all that has to be covered as well, isn't it? So it's quarter. So let's say the hair is uncovered. If a quarter of the hair is uncovered, then the salah will break. If less than a quarter is uncovered, technically the salah won't break, but be makruh tahrimi. You're supposed to repeat the salah because you'll be sinful for doing that. No, it's not okay. You have to.
Is that less than a quarter?
Even if a less than a quarter is uncovered, your salah, although it won't break, but it will be makruh tahrimi, which is sinful. So you'll be sinful and you have to repeat that salah. So what you need to do, either get a bigger hijab, when you tie your hair in such a way that doesn't come down, or just tuck it into the t-shirt or something at the back. Do something with it. So Yasmin, and then, yeah.
And how would you know how long a dream test will
It's how long it takes to say Subhana Rabbil Azim. So Subhana Rabbil Azim, Subhana Rabbil Azim, Subhana Rabbil Azim, which is about 5 seconds, isn't it? So
if you don't
so we'll say if it's uncovered for about 5-6 seconds, then your salah will break. Yeah? So you have to estimate. Okay, so this is a very important point, and many people, their salah breaks because they're unaware of it. And especially boys as well. When you go to the masjid, what happens is, when boys pray, when they go to sujood, what happens to their t-shirt?
goes up.
It goes up.
It goes up. What happens to their trousers?
It kind of goes down.
It goes down. Well, then what can you see?
A backside.
The backside. That's part of, is that part of the aura, isn't it?
No.
Yeah? Yeah, so it's part of the aura. And when that happens, the salah, will that break or will it be okay? It will break. And because they're going to be like that for the whole sajda, the salah will break. Many people in the masjid, men, old people, young people, so many people, it happens. So that's why for boys especially, you need to make sure, before if you're wearing a t-shirt, tuck your t-shirt in, especially at the back. And then pray salah. What you can do is, you can lift your underwear up a bit, yeah? So that when you go down, the underwear is covering it. Yeah, so you can wear a longer coat, that will cover it, so that problem will be solved. That's a very easier way to solve the problem. Okay, so this is very important. Another quick discussion that we're going to have. So let's say the aura for the boys is from the navel, Mohammed, this way, the bend up. So aura for the boys from the navel to the knees, including the knees, isn't it? So this is an aura which cannot be exposed in front of anyone. So let's say when you're playing football, you're doing PE, you're walking outside, you're going somewhere, that has to be covered all the time. In front of your family, in front of your parents, in front of your brothers and sisters, that has to be covered. You cannot walk around the house just wearing shorts with I'm talking about the boys, with your knees exposed and everyone can see it. This is part of your modesty as a Muslim. Allah has made this much fard for you to cover. So this applies not just for salah, it applies for everywhere. So if you're playing football, just one second, if you're playing football, you need to make sure the shorts are long enough that your knees are covered. If you're doing other sports or whatever you're doing, the aura has to be covered all the time. Yes, sir.
What if you went swimming and you have like jammers which are like short, strong, like tight?
Okay, that's not allowed.
Okay, and another question, what if you were taking a bath?
That's fine because are your family in the bath as well?
No.
Okay, then that's fine. Unless you have a weird practice of
So I can swim.
keeping all your family in the bathroom as well while you take off, then you have to cover your
That'd be
aura.
a bit weird.
Okay, yes, sir. Yeah.
And also, what if like, so you could go swimming with like, could you like go swimming with those jammers, but like if no one was there?
Yeah, obviously, yeah. If no one's there, then you don't need to hide it from anyone. Okay, yeah. I'll come round.
I lost it.
Okay, just very quickly.
If you like to play football and your knees would show like from the top, could you like if you had long socks, could you pull them up and so they would see them?
You can do, but easier thing would be is many athletes wear these knee bandages or something, knee bands or something.
Oh,
So you
yeah.
can wear like long, decent length shorts and then put the knee things on. That will cover it.
What happens if your knees aren't covered?
Then you'll be sinful. So Allah can punish you for it.
What about
Okay, yes, yes, sir.
What if you have to go swimming and then you
You can cover your knees to go swimming. So wear shorts that are long enough to cover your knees.
the girl can't wear shorts to swimming?
Okay, I'll talk about the boys for now, but I haven't come to the girls yet. I haven't come to the girls yet.
Okay.
Okay, yes.
If you're playing I'm just coming back to the football thing. You know, could you just wear like body warmers, like, because they cover your whole body?
Yeah,
You could just wear those. Is that okay?
yeah, but you have to wear loose fitted shorts on top of that. No.
Yeah, obviously you're gonna wear shorts. You don't
Yeah.
like wear body warmers.
Yeah, yep.
In my school, we have like a strict code for when we go swimming. It has to be like yeah, it's strict. Like you can't wear like swimming trunks. It has to be like a yeah.
Because apparently it slows you down.
You haven't told me what you have to wear, just a gear.
Oh
Like really short, like short.
yeah. So it won't cover your knees. Like,
Okay.
it's
Yeah, then the parents have to speak to the school and discuss it with them. Normally when there's a religious requirement, then they can adopt that. So your parents have to contact the school. Yes. And then for the girls, now going on to the girls. For the girls, in front of your immediate family members, your aura doesn't have to be covered. This aura. So in front of normal family members, let's say you're in your house, you're just with your parents and your brothers and sisters, yeah? So you can just wear normal t-shirt, you can wear normal trousers, and that's fine, you don't have to wear a headscarf. So that's inside the house with your immediate family members. But as soon as you go outside of the house, or guests come in that aren't your immediate family members, so your distant relatives, they come in, then the same aura has to be covered. Then your hair has to be covered, your arms all the way up to the wrist has to be covered, your whole body needs to be covered, and all the way up to the ankles need to be covered. That's what in front of other men that aren't related to you or distant relatives of you. Does that make sense? Yeah?
Yeah.
So now for girls, if you walk around without wearing a headscarf, or without covering your aura, or let's say you're wearing a t-shirt and you're walking around, you will be sinful. And it's disobeying Allah. So we should try and get into the habit of slowly putting a headscarf on and slowly covering more of our aura until we become comfortable with it. Yeah. Okay, last question before we move on.
What about close relatives?
Yeah, so you have to cover your aura from them for girls. So even the first cousins, let's say your uncle's son, your aura has to be covered from them.
Would it be the same for boys?
Well, for boys you have to cover your aura in front of everyone. Yeah? Whereas for girls, the normal aura, but on top of that, the extra aura with the hair, the arms and everything has to be covered in front of first cousins.
For girls' swimming costumes, some people they have swimming costumes that goes up to beneath their knees and beneath their elbows. Would that count as?
Is the full aura covered?
Not really.
No, so that won't count.
More than a quarter. I always go swimming with my arms showing and then to wear short.
Okay, we'll discuss that in a few minutes. So we've just everyone understood that the aura has to be covered. Yeah.
Yeah.
So for Muslim girls, you're not allowed to. Girls aren't allowed to go outside of the house without covering their aura, which is their arms, their hair, and everything else. That's the first thing. And for boys as well, the aura has to be covered. Another thing is, for the aura to be covered properly, it cannot. Okay, one second. Let me just finish, and I'll take questions at the end now, because we need to move on. The time's almost running out. Okay, let me give an example. Okay, let's say a person wasn't wearing any clothes. Yeah, person wasn't wearing any clothes. So what they done was, they took a paint. They took let's say a dark color paint. Let's say black paint, and they covered their body. They painted it, and they walked down the streets like that. Will you say that the aura is covered?
No.
Yes.
Technically,
yes.
Can you see their skin?
Yes.
No, you can't, because they've painted it.
No.
But is that still acceptable?
No.
No. So for your aura to be considered as covered, two things are necessary. Number one, you can't see their skin. Number two,
You can't see they're naked.
you can't see the shape of the body. Yeah, does that make sense? So reason why the paint, guys, the reason why the paint is not acceptable is because not because you can't see the skin, is because you can see the shape of the body, isn't it? Yeah.
Yes.
So that's why, guys, don't shout out. So that's why that's not acceptable. Now, okay, now we're coming on to what about extremely tight clothing that the whole shape of the body can be seen? Let's say skinny jeans that reveal you can just as if it's painted on. And they actually done someone told me about a test that they done once. A person, what they done was, it was a woman. She painted on her legs a pair of trousers, jeans. So she got a professional to paint her on a pair of jeans, and actually looked like a pair of jeans. But obviously she wasn't wearing anything, just painted. And she was walking around the high street. She went on a train. Everywhere were massive people, and no one noticed that she wasn't wearing trousers because the clothing that people wear today is exactly the same. Normally when people wear skinny jeans, it's tight, isn't it? It completely reveals the shape of the legs, isn't it? Yeah? That's why people couldn't even tell that she's not wearing trousers, because that's when people do wear trousers, that's what they look like. So when someone wears skinny jeans, okay, hands on for that, let me finish explaining, then I'll take question right here. So when someone wears very tight clothing, let's say skinny jeans, will you say that the aura is covered?
No.
No, because the shape of the body is exposed, everything exposed, isn't it? That's why for the aura to be valid, covering of the aura to be valid, the shape of the body cannot be exposed. You have to wear loose-fitted clothing. So let's say for girls, you have to wear a loose-fitted t-shirt that doesn't reveal the shape of your body, and you have to wear loose-fitted trousers that doesn't reveal the shape of the body as well. So it's part of our modesty in Islam. So Allah doesn't want us to walk around naked and everyone to look at us. And as Muslims, we should want to be covered. We should want to have a lot of modesty. We shouldn't want, so let's say girls when we walk in the streets, we shouldn't want everyone to be staring at us or our shape of our body. We should want as much modesty as possible. And same for the men as well. So when the men, they cover their aura, it shouldn't be so tight that it reveals the shape of the body. Okay, so I want everyone to write this down. Everyone write this down? So especially for girls, you have to make sure that because it's very easy to expose the hair, especially the front of the hair, it's very easy. So you have to make sure you wear a scarf in such a way that that's covered. Many girls, what they do, first they wear like a hat underneath their scarf. It's a specific, so they wear that, so the front of the hair is not exposed, and then they tie the scarf around. So then it stops the front of the hair from being showing, and especially the arms as well. So if you're wearing very loose-fitted clothing, all you have to just lift your hands, and your aura is exposed, and you will be sinning. So sometimes you'll be doing so many good things, you'll be reading Quran, you'll be praying salah, but this, the rule of aura, without even knowing, is being left out. And you will not be able to come close to Allah. And you're thinking, how comes Allah, so many things are going wrong with me, and things like that. I'm praying so much salah, reading so much Quran, but these are why. Because small things, you're not taking them into account. Okay? And try to make sure all the time that your aura is covered. And start to slowly wear as much more of the headscarf as possible. As soon as you reach the age of 10, you should try to make sure that you're always wearing the headscarf. So start slowly, wear it outside, go into a relative's house, then try and build up from that. Try to wear it inside the house now and then. Try to wear it going to the shop. So let's say you're going to the shop, normally you don't wear a headscarf, but try to get used to the idea of wearing a headscarf as much as possible. And then the big step is wearing it at school. And once the first week or something will be very difficult. Everyone will be like, hey, you're wearing a headscarf now. But then everyone just start getting used to it. And then it'll be like, oh yeah, she just wears a headscarf. And go. Yeah? So you have to take one step at a time. So start wearing in the house now and then. Start wearing when you go out now and then to your relative's house, when you go to the shops, when you go to town. And then the big step is wearing it at school. And once you get that, then it'll be very easy to wear a headscarf all the time. Because we don't want to be sinning all the time. We don't want to making Allah angry all the time by these small things. Yeah.
Do you have to wear it when you go to sleep?
No.
You don't really, in front of the family when you sleep.
Okay, any other questions?